Hello everyone. Welcome to part 2 of Pass Out Mid-Sentence prank. It still didn't go where I wanted it to go, but I guess you're already used to that from me, so let's just get into this. As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons and all of you who still watch my videos. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the uploads, and I hope you will enjoy. Still having the last similar prank he did in vivid memory, Kunimi wasn't exactly rushing to make the history repeat itself. Even almost 2 years after the whole almost bleeding out thing happened, he still hadn't made a complete recovery. His blood was still rather thin, and no medication seemed to be helping long term, which worried him more and more. Especially since now there was a very real possibility they could welcome a baby into their family. With Kindaichi still unable to walk properly without at least a walking cane, it would be up to him to do most of the carrying. What if something happened and he fell, taking the baby with him? He could survive a tumble, but babies were fragile. He would never forgive himself if he hurt the little boy. Aki, do you know where my papers are? Snapped out of his thoughts, Kunimi blinked a few times to stop the room from spinning with him when he straightened up faster than he should. What papers? The planners. I left it on the table and they are gone. Oh, I put them away before lunch. They should be... He paused, suddenly unable to recall where he put the file just a few hours prior. Where? He tried to retrace his steps, think of the most probable place he could put a pile of papers to move them out of the way, yet he still came out empty-handed. Just look around. They should be there somewhere. That's not very helpful. You could also put them away yourself sometimes, you know? It came out much snappier than he intended, pausing both of them mid-movement. With his heart beating wildly, Kunimi spun around to avoid Kindaichi's eyes, his head spinning violently with the motion. Sorry, I really don't know. Uneven footsteps sounded behind him, and he flinched when a large hand gently squeezed his shoulder. Is everything okay? I don't know. I swear I put it away somewhere, but I can't remember where. He froze, unpleasantly reminded of the previous prank once again, but it was too late to take it back. Kindaichi too seemed to recall the same thing if he could judge by the tightening grip on his shoulder. Okay, we've been through this. The last time. I swear I'm not making it up. I get you don't trust me, but I'm not lying. I'm just not feeling well. His vision blurred suddenly, his head as if floating for a beat, and then everything disappeared. For a while, he wasn't sure what was happening. His body felt weird, weightless and yet heavy at the same time. He couldn't see anything, only hear a soft voice saying something he didn't understand. Still, he latched onto that voice, following it and letting it lead him out of the strange limbo until the world appeared around him again. Well, to be more precise, their living room and his own personal world, now looking rather panicked. Aki? Hey, don't nod off again, please. Stay with me. The pleading tone broke Kunimi's heart. Enough so he found new strength to force his eyes to stay open, even though the only thing his body wanted was to return to the darkness. I'm here. Letting out a shaky chuckle, Gindaichi cupped his cheek, the cool touch helping him to stay grounded in reality. That's good. You scared me so much. Are you hurt? Should I call an ambulance? I barely caught you. What if... My head spins. Might be low blood pressure. Well, that would be the better option, I guess. Anything else? You have to tell me. I'm sorry, I didn't believe you. He squeezed Kunime's hand, his own trembling and clammy. I should have known something was wrong. I'm so sorry. I wouldn't believe myself either. After last time. That doesn't matter. I promised I won't let that happen again, remember? That I won't let you get hurt. But I doubted you, and it could have ended up badly again. He sniffed quietly, hastily wiping the tears from his eyes before giving Kunime's hand a firm squeeze. I'll call an ambulance. Stay down, okay? Don't move. Just call if you get sick again, okay? Kunime managed to just nod, all the words he wanted to say getting stuck in his throat. Dread clutched Kenji's insides in its iron grip ever since he was roped into the stupid passing out prank. Even his knees started to hurt more, as if to remind him why pretending to get hurt in front of Aone was a very, very bad idea. He was sure Aone wouldn't get so cold like the last time after everything that went down, considering just how guilty about the whole thing he looked afterwards. But some things shouldn't be repeated. The issue was, he had no idea what Suna was planning for those who didn't participate. He was already scared before when Oikawa threatened to expose their secrets, and now the timing would be even worse. There really was only one secret he kept, but that single fact had power to destroy everything they've built over the years, despite Aone's word that he didn't need the adoption to be happy. As if I would believe that. If he just saw himself whenever he gets another rejection. Deep down, he knew he didn't have to be scared of much. Yeah, he was horrible with kids, but surely if he spent enough time with the child, things would improve, right? He would get better and the kid would get used to him enough to not hate his guts. Right? He desperately shook his head to chase all the other scenarios away. But trying to focus on present didn't help much, considering what he was supposed to do. But if I just said I did it? We weren't told to get a proof. Yeah, no way I'm doing this again. One time was enough. He barely managed to suppress a startled yelp when a large hand suddenly squeezed his shoulder, his head spinning a bit with how fast he turned around. Aone pulled his hand away immediately, concern written all over his face. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Oh, it's fine. I should have paid attention. He tried for a light-hearted chuckle, but the sound that left his mouth wouldn't convince anyone. Did you need anything? I had to space out. You are quiet. Am I? Oh, well, I guess. I was just thinking about some stuff, and what do you know, it's half an hour later. But it's fine, just some regular things, nothing horrible. Aone still, rightfully, didn't seem convinced, and after a short moment of hesitation, he took the empty spot next to Kenji. What's wrong? Kenji wanted to deny, to lie and say everything was fine and there was no reason to be worried. But he knew Aona well enough to know he wouldn't let it go. It was easier to say at least something. And so he sighed and averted his eyes, staring at his clutched hands instead. It's about one challenge the group chat made up. Or prank, rather. To pretend to pass out. I swear I didn't want to do it. I was just thinking about how to avoid it and... I didn't want you to get upset again. He didn't mean to say the again out loud, but in the waterfall of words, he couldn't stop himself in time. Silence settled between them, making Kenji squirm inwardly and curse his too fast mouth that just had to ruin everything again. So much so he forgot the world around him, and then flinched when Aona tried to hold his hand. Sorry. Don't. I should be sorry for scaring you so much. You don't. It's just... if everything that happened last time. I know. That's what I'm talking about. I made you question everything instead of making you feel safe. A deep, almost defeated sigh escaped from his mouth. I'll leave you be. Wait. He wasn't sure what he wanted to say. He just knew that the prospect of Aona leaving terrified him more than any harsh words he could receive. Can I get a hug? The softest of smiles stacked in corner of Aona's lips, yet Kenji would have to be blind to not see the sorrow hidden behind it. He clung to Aona as if his life depended on it, shivers running through his skin where the warm body and strong arms touched him, securing him in place. Please stay. Tender kiss landed in his hair. I'm not going anywhere. Bad, stupid, and many more similar adjectives came to mind the longer Taichi thought about the supposed prank. How could it even be called prank? Pranks were supposed to make people laugh, not scare, and he knew for sure Hayato would freak the hell out if he even attempted it. Hence why he decided to pretend the prank didn't exist. For the sake of his mental health, Hayato's mental stability, and their relationship. Sure, Hayato probably wouldn't take off his wedding ring over this, but Taichi refused to risk anything. Not now, when they finally lived happy and comfortable. I might have to forge some proof though. Who knows what Suna comes up with? Maybe I could just ask him to tell me what he would do if that happened. He's always been good in describing his feelings. That seemed like the most solid idea he had, and so he quickly washed his face and turned to head back into the bedroom, only to find Hayato standing in the doorway, a soft smile on his lips as he watched him leaned against the doorframe. Oh, am I in the way? Never. I'm just enjoying the view. View of what? With a loving roll of his eyes, Hayato pushed himself from the wall and crossed the distance between them, capturing Taichi's lips in the softest of kisses. View of my beautiful husband, obviously. Oh. Blush creeped into his cheeks, much to Hayato's apparent amusement. I love how you still blush so much whenever I compliment you. I can't help it. Then it's good I don't want you to help it. He stood up on his tiptoes to steal another kiss from Daichi's lips. I love it. You have no idea how much. It's so cute. With a lively twinkle still very much present in his eyes, he wrapped his arms around Daichi's waist, urging Daichi to do the same. You could also choose a better spot than bathroom. Any place is good. But if you want, we can move to the bedroom. Daichi smacked his shoulder, earning a very non-apologetic snicker. Yet warmth flooded his whole being, the feeling of being held with so much love oozing from his husband, filling him with peace and happiness. It felt almost cruel to ruin the serenity of the moment, but the faster he asked, the faster he could forget about the whole thing. Say, I've been thinking recently a lot about my health and all that, and I was wondering, what would you do if I just passed out randomly? A deep, confused crease appeared on Hayato's forehead as he contemplated the question, and then cupped Daichi's cheek. How did you thought of that? The group chat came up with it, to do it as a prank. But with everything that's wrong with me, I thought it would be too cruel to do it for real. Yeah, that was a good call. I would probably have a heart attack if you just randomly fainted. He took a few deep breaths, obviously trying to chase the image out of his head, and then his grip tightened. I've already seen you lose consciousness, and I really don't want to again. Not now when it's getting better. He looked at him with so much hope in his eyes that she had to bite his tongue to swallow his words. There was no need to spook his husband for no reason. And so he smiled and returned the hug properly, glad to feel Hayato relax again. He never had doubts about Hayato's dedication to keeping him safe and healthy, but hearing it from time to time didn't hurt. Should we make breakfast? I'm kinda hungry right now. Yeah, me too. Let's treat ourselves today, Considering the events happening around them as of lately, the last thing Enoshita wanted to do was to pretend he had a health emergency. Tanaka was already in high alert and anxious whenever they were apart, and while Enoshita valued his care immensely, and perhaps enjoyed it a little too much, adding to it unnecessarily seemed cruel. And so came 4th day after he was given the task already, and he still hadn't decided on the best approach. I mean, to be fair, there isn't really any way to do this gently. Ryu would still freak out if I just wavered. He was torn out of his thoughts by a soft knock on the door, after which one of his co-workers entered the room. You asked for a coffee, right? Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, I completely forgot about asking you. Thank you. He added a nod of thanks as he finally sipped on the hot beverage, earning a small smile. No issue. You are going home earlier today, right? Yeah, I hope I can. We haven't spent much time with my partner lately. The woman gave him an understanding smile and then excused herself back to her work. Life returning into his body with every sip of the coffee, Enoshita squared his shoulders and mind alike before he called in another, for that day hopefully last patient. Despite not feeling particularly drained mentally, he had to admit the last physio took all the energy he got from the coffee away. He quickly collected his things, Glad his wishes were overheard and he didn't get any unexpected patients. But he had to admit his mind was definitely slowing down that evening. Perhaps subconsciously, he reached for his phone and opened the familiar chat, tapping in a quick message for Tanaka to let him know he was going home. He paused for a beat, and then hesitantly added a second message before guilt could catch up with him. Come on, it's fine. He offered it himself. Stomping down all the doubts, he grabbed his bag and headed out of the clinic, his legs as if weighed down by some invisible chains. So much so he couldn't help but take the little cautious voice sounding in his head into consideration. Alright, it is weird, but that doesn't have to mean anything, right? Could be just exhaustion. Yet, with every heavy step he took, the explanation of exhaustion became less and less believable. He kept himself walking along the walls in case he needed to support himself, and dragged his feet forward to get as close to their flat as possible. Chills ran down his spine, the feeling of being watched urging him to move faster than his body currently managed. But he couldn't stop and look around. Not in this state. Come on, just a few streets. Chica! Relief flooded every cell of his body when he recognized the voice, and soon he no less than fell into the warmest and most secure embrace. Hey. What's wrong? I don't know. It's drowsy. Tanaka's arms tightened around him. Shit, again? Okay, come on, careful. Let me know if you feel sick. I'm sorry. Shush. I'm glad you texted me. Who knows where you would end up if you tried to walk all the way on your own. That helped a little to ease Enoshita's guilt over using his still not fully healed fiancé as a walking cane. And in the end, it also elevated the strange creeping feeling of ice bearing into his back. After all, what place in the whole world was safer than his beloved's arms? Despite how it may seem, Suna didn't want to play with fate any more than the others he roped into this. Sure, last time it wasn't him who was doing the prank, but he was quite sure Osamu had the whole thing firmly engraved into his memory. However, he also wasn't one to miss out on a good prank, if only to repay Osamu for the 3 years of enduring the twins' shenanigans. Of course, he wasn't going to hunt down those who didn't do the prank in the end, or threaten their relationship similarly to Oikawa not so long ago. He just needed to give them a little nudge. Hopefully they won't come pounding on our door. Some would kill me. If it would be for causing troubles, or because his rare moments of peace at home would be interrupted, didn't really matter in the end. Unleashing Osamu's wrath was something one couldn't play with. And so Suna continued to monitor the chat for any signs of something bad happening, while he waited for Osamu to come home from work. Fortunately, it didn't take that long for the main door to open, the grumbling and thoughts coming from the hallway letting Suna know Osamu was in just as bright mood as usual. In? Can you come help me? I can't feel my arms anymore. Suna jumped up immediately as if jolted by some invisible force, and rushed to take over whatever Osamu was carrying. Can you stop overexerting yourself? The doctor said you shouldn't carry heavy things. It's fine, not that heavy, it's just a lot. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You're a walking heart failure risk, and yet you act nothing like it. He took most of the bags from Osamu's hands with a huff and stomped back into the living room before Osamu could say anything in return. And here he thought Osamu was the more responsible from the two of them. Why couldn't he see how dangerous this was? Now I'm definitely doing the prank, I don't care. If he can worry me, I can worry him. He put the bags on the table and shook his hands rather violently to stop them from trembling. Rin. Don't talk to me unless you learn to take your health seriously. Come on, I was careful. Were you though? He gritted his teeth, somewhat shocked himself how mad Osamu's obliviousness to danger made him. But it was justified, right? He was doing his best to help lift most of the shop load from Osamu's back, and it still wasn't enough to stop Osamu from doing stupid things. Of course he was angry. And gently squeezed his shoulder. Rin, I'm sorry. I just figured it would be less taxing if I took everything at once. And was it? Huh? You're still out of breath. He shook the hand away despite wanting nothing more than to grab Osamu into a hug and not let go, and rushed away to hide his clouding vision. Idiot! Rin, wait. Come on, don't be upset, Look out! He didn't even manage to yelp when his foot got caught on something, the sudden change of pace kicking the ground from under him. Sharp pain shot through his head, his ears ringing as he fell to his knees, unsure what happened. Just that he suddenly felt sick. He slowly registered a firm grip around him, as well as the warm hand on his forehead. Samu? It's okay, just stay still, don't move. Are you dizzy? A little. Okay, stay down then, don't get up. Goodness, I thought you split your head open with that sound. It took a little while before Suna's brain started to recall and recognize. He glanced up, taking note of the now deformed edge of the little cupboard they stored their achievements in. A quiet "oh" escaping his mouth. He reached to his forehead, but there didn't seem to be any blood. Just a damn strong ache. Ouch. Yeah, that about sums it up. Wait here, I'll bring you some ice. Don't you dare to get up. Suna would like to laugh at the irony, but there was no strength left in him to do anything else but slump on the floor and wait patiently for Osamu to bring the ice back. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I guess I did turn up the angst meter a little bit in this part, but it still isn't where I want it to be. So, with that in mind, look forward to the next challenges, both poly and mono, because, yeah, we really need some angst. Come on. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time.